Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I hope you're doing well. Today is Monday, June 30th, and we had a second consecutive trading day of a new all-time high for the S&P. S&P was up 0.52% today. NASDAQ was up 0.64%. And the Dow Jones up 0.63%. All the indices were in the green. The VIX was up slightly, but we're sub 20 now, which is good. So a lot of the anxiety in the market has subsided, as it typically does. MicroStrategy was up 5% today. BitDeer was up 3%. Clean Spark was up 3%. And I do think that these Bitcoin miners are trying to tell us something, which is that the Bitcoin move is close. Typically, these Bitcoin miners telegraph Bitcoin moves and oftentimes move right before Bitcoin does. Bitcoin is still at 107. Solana popped today. In the last 24 hours, has since receded a bit, but Solana is at 156. The new Sol ETF should be available for traders on Wednesday. We'll talk about that in a second. Doge is at 16.6. Ethereum is at close to 2,500. And with regards to, one second. With regards to today's live topic of today, I do think that there may be a blind spot and that the market isn't paying any attention to. Could cause some volatility in this month ahead. We'll talk about that in a second. By the way, if you enjoy these lives, do leave a like. I'd really appreciate that. And let's get started. So as I mentioned, S&P hit a new all-time high today. The probability for a rate cut in September is now close to 95%, with a near 20% chance of a 50 basis point cut. Now, I do think that a good portion of the reasoning for this is some softness in labor data, and also the fact that our most recent inflation readings have come in cooler than expected. So it does seem like we're making progress on inflation. However, it's still a concern of mine, even though people have seemingly put it behind them. We'll talk about why in a second. Fear and greed is currently at greed. So this is something to keep in mind. FOMO is building amongst investors. And now, this is not to say that I think we are overvalued. I think a lot of the names that we're interested in are actually quite reasonably valued. So the market as a whole does not necessarily tell you the story of individual names in the market. But inflation is creeping back up, guys. If you look at the June Trueflation trend, the trend is upwards, and it's certainly higher than the numbers that we were registering in Trueflation for May and April and even March. And so it would not surprise me if the next CPI reading comes out. It's a bit hotter than expected for June. And that may cause the probabilities for a rate cut to come down a bit. Now, keep in mind, when you're at 95% probability of a rate cut in September, there's a lot more room to go down than there is to go up. And so this is the blind spot that I think the market may not be paying enough attention to. I think it's important for investors to keep this in the back of their mind, that it does seem like everything's hunky-dory and nothing but sunshine and rainbows ahead, but things could change with just one piece of economic news. And so I think, being cognizant of this fact, not losing sight of this fact, I think is very important. You'll notice on this live, whenever things are really bullish, I'll come on here to kind of bring things down to earth. And then when things are really bearish, I'll let you know that, there are bright spots out there, and perhaps that bearishness is overblown, as it often is. So I'd like to hopefully keep in not so high, not so low, even temperament amongst investors that tune in. That's the goal here, because the two mistakes that people make are the two biggest mistakes that investors make are panic selling, number one, and number two, FOMO buying. And so make sure you're not doing either of those things. Understand what you're investing in, understand the proper valuation. Don't FOMO into things, because things can change very quickly. All right. As I said, the first Solana ETF this Wednesday, inshallah. And something good about the first Solana ETF is that you'll be able to stake your Solana, which is a big deal. Staking rewards should be anywhere between, if the last year is anything to go by, staking rewards should be anywhere between 5 and 10%. If you look at Coinbase, which, staking rewards were a bit lower, but because, Coinbase takes a chunk for itself, but they're offering around 5% APY, which is more than 10-year Treasuries at this point. So not a bad deal. That being said, Solana is definitely not as secure as a 10-year Treasury. And we do have a couple pieces of economic data coming out this week that are important to keep an eye out. Tuesday, we'll have the manufacturing index. We'll get some color on the state of the economy. And we'll also get non-farm payrolls on Thursday, as well as the unemployment rate. And I expect them not to be surprises in a big way. What I'm keeping my eyes out on is the inflation data that comes out mid-July regarding June. I think that may be a source of volatility for the market, something to keep on your radar, but nothing to panic about. And if you haven't already, do make sure to join PIF as a premium or elite member. I think the membership pays for itself many times over, inshallah. We have a lot of members very happy with how some of our picks have been going. Uzair has 40K worth of iron that he bought at 7. Now iron is flirting with 15. So that's great. They made at least 20K on that. And hopefully a lot more members made a lot more money as well. And we get anecdotes of members making money all the time. And so this gives me confidence that the membership is very much worth it. I encourage you to become a member if you haven't already. And with that being said, thank you for tuning in. No questions today. I appreciate you guys tuning in. Do leave a like if you enjoyed this live. And until next time, make sure to take care of yourself. Assalamu alaikum, and peace be upon you all.